everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create. We're working on Woodland Friends, and this is page 2 and page 3, and I just kind of wanted to roughly lay them out side by side so you can get a look with where we're headed. And isn't that lovely? I'm really liking the way these two pages are coming together. There's a couple of different animals in this collection, and so like this is the rabbit page, I've got a fox page, and then there's a deer page. I just think it turned out really lovely. So we're gonna move aside page 3, not too far, but just out of our field of vision, and focus on page 2. Okay, so I spent some time last night organizing my thoughts and the papers, and we're going to start. You don't have to start here, but you're going to need to mat 2 of the ephemera cards. So I use the rabbit for the front, and the back is going to be the flip side of the rabbit. So you're going to need to go ahead and mat both of those, and they are matted. I trim down, there's a little frame that goes on the outside of these ephemera cards. Like, see this little green right here? I went ahead and trimmed that off of these so that these made 4x6, perfectly 4x6 matted ephemera cards. Sorry, I was having a hard time with my words there. Okay, and we've got 2 flaps that are going to go left and right, and then we have this one flap that's going to go down, and I've trimmed it out so it looks kind of like a banner. And this is going to get installed like so, and it's going to lift to open up this door flap. So you're going to start with, let's see, this is 9 7/8. 9 7/8. So just under 10 inches. And the reason I did that is so that when you close it, it doesn't get caught up on the hinge. So 9 7/8, you're going to score it 1/2 inch and 5 1/4. 1/2 inch, 5 1/4. 9 7/8 by 8. Score at 1/2 inch and 5 1/4. And you're going to do that 2 times. Once for the left and once for the right. And I can't remember, but I think I've got these. I think I was going to install these directly to the edges, like so. And I say I think that because I didn't do any trim pieces, so I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to install them directly to the left and right edge of the pocket page on page 2. Okay, I was just doing a quick dry fit. Hi, Nala. Nala came in to say hello, everybody. One of these days, I'm going to get around to putting a quick little video together so you guys can see Nala and what she looked like when we brought her home and what she looks like now. She's gorgeous. She's a beautiful dog. Ah, I should stop talking and focus because I just laid that down crooked. But fortunately, I hadn't burnished it. Okay, so there's one. Now we're going to do the other side. Here we go. I forgot to dry fit, but I think it's, yeah, it's right. Here we go. Okay, so it's going to open and open again. So 9 7/8, 2 times. 9 7/8 by 8, make 2. You're going to score 1/2 inch and 5 1/4. And then the next piece is going to be this banner. And you're going to start with 8 inches by 3 3/4. 8 by 3 3/4. There's nothing magic about that. That's just the size that I thought looked good. But if you want to make it 4 inches, that's fine too. You're going to score at 1/2 inch and 5/8. So I'm going to make this a double, make a small gusset on the hinge here. Since it's covering 2 flaps that are folded over on themselves, it's a little bit thicker. So, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So this is going to get installed, centered, just like so. And I forgot to put tape on here, so just a second. Let me get my tape. Okay. Oops. That was a 1/4 inch. I need 3/8. There we go. Lovely, lovely. So I'm kind of running behind schedule, but the exciting part is, let me make sure I've got that. Yeah. Okay. So this is the top, and I was just looking at page 1, just to make sure I'm working off the top, and I'm going to center it between these two. So I'm going to put a small dot here, and then I'm going to find my center line on this flap. I can open that up now. There we go. So that's in. Turn it back over, just make sure I've got everything installed right. Yes. Okay. So let me tell you how I got my point. So I found the midpoint of this 3 3/4, and then I came up 1 inch and put a mark on either side, and then I just cut a diagonal. So this is just a 1 inch point. So mark it 1 inch from the bottom, find your midpoint, and then just cut from the midpoint to your 1 inch mark. And that's how I came up with that. And then I've got these 2 pieces that are going to get here, lay down here. And so an easy way to do this is to trim out the right width for this paper, and then lay it underneath this, and then just trace it. And then when you cut your edges, then you can just shift it up or down depending on what you need to do. And then you'll trim off this edge instead of the pointed edge, and it makes it pretty easy. So that's the method that I used. So we're going to use the peach on the top, and we're going to use the green on the inside. And before we get too much further, we need to add some magnets. So I am going to put a magnet here and a magnet on this side. So I think I want to put my magnets like so. You probably could get away with 1, but I'm going to go ahead and use 2. I mean 1 set. That's the wrong size. I keep picking up the wrong tape. So there we go. You just have to make sure it's going to hit the pocket and be far enough away from the edge that you don't have to worry about your magnet being exposed once you put your designer paper down. Okay, I had to check to make sure I turned the recorder on. I don't know what's going on, but I've been having trouble with my memory. Okay, now we're going to put some tape underneath those, and then we're going to close that flap and locate the magnets on the flip side. And then we can start decorating. Yeah. My puppy's laying behind me. She's such a sweetie. Oh, so I've been busy today, and I'm feeling very chatty. I think I've had too much coffee and not enough food. So you guys are going to have to deal with it. So my husband's out of town for a couple of days, and that doesn't happen very often, which means I don't have any commitments to, any family commitments to make. So I'm taking this opportunity. So I'm laying this down. I'm going to pause my personal story there for a second. Laying this down, and I'm making sure I don't want to pull it down. I want to make sure that this gusset that I created is vertical. So I'm checking the side, and I'm just making sure it's standing straight up. I don't want to pull it all the way over. Otherwise, what's the point of having the gusset there, right? You might as well have just done a single hinge. And making sure that it's standing straight up. And then I'm going to lay down the flap and get my magnets in place. And that is that. So we did it. So that's nice. I love that snap. That's so satisfying. Okay, we can go ahead and lay this in now. I've already inked it. And like I said, once you make your 3 3/4 by 8 inch, mark 1 inch and then the center and then just trim. And I just did it. You can line it up in your trimmer because you've got 2 marks to lay into the cut line, or you can use a pair of scissors. I went back and forth and did it both ways. Trim this down to whatever mat size you want. I trimmed it down 1/8 inch narrower. So instead of 3 3/4, that makes it 3 5/8. And I just left the full length. I laid it under and I centered it so that the border was where I wanted it. And then when I folded it over, I traced it, took it out, trimmed it, and then I trimmed off this edge to make it fit just perfectly. Okay, so that is the story with that. So we're ready to put it in. Here we go. I feel like I'm being a mess in Marvin. Every tool I take out is not going back where it belongs. Okay, anyways, I was telling you, I'm so excited because I have this couple of days off to myself where when it's just me and my son, who's 18 now and a senior in high school with a serious girlfriend. He wants to spend all his time with her, and my husband's gone, so I pretty much have the run of the house. So it's just me and Nala. So I'm taking this opportunity to reorganize my craft room. And you really do, I'm sure you guys all know as crafters, you really do need some dedicated time and space to reorganize, because I can't just reorganize in the room. I really needed to get some stuff out of the room, purged, and then some of it's coming back in, but not all of it. But I didn't have enough room in my craft room to sort of unload and sort. So my entryway is now full of all my craft stuff, but nobody cares because I'm home basically alone. So I'm getting that done and I'm very excited. And while my room is semi-empty, I think I'm going to go ahead and paint my walls, which are way overdue. Because I'm one of those people that have done lots of different arts throughout my lifetime. And one of them was painting, oil painting. And I have a bunch of old paintings on my wall, and some of them I've got given away, gifted, and left sort of, empty holes and picture hangers everywhere. So I'm going to get all that down and get my walls painted, and then start shuffling stuff back in here. The other thing I want to do while my room is empty is I've kind of got cords everywhere. Because I've got a couple of cabinets and a desk, and naturally my outlets aren't where I want them to be. So I need to get some cable management going in this room, and I'm going to take an opportunity to do that as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. I used to do beading. I used to make jewelry, and I did a lot of that before I started paper crafting again. And I gave that up, and I won't go back to it because it was just too hard on my arthritic hands. So I went ahead and pulled all that stuff out, found somebody who likes to do beading, and I, made sure that I was available to them. Okay, now we're going to add these postcards. And the important thing about the postcard location is that you don't interfere with these magnets down here, because we're going to put a front and a back. And that's too much to go through to make sure that those magnets are still, attracting. So here's what I'm going to do to help me figure out where to put this. Because I'm going to do the front one, and then I'm just going to line the back one up off the front one. So I'm going to set this second one aside for the moment. So I just added magnets to the top side so I could visually see where I need to place my bunnies. Okay, and this looks good. I'm liking the way this looks. That was kind of a last minute thing last night when I was working on this, trying to decide. Originally, it was just going to look like this, and there wasn't going to be anything hanging past the ephemera card. And I kept looking at it thinking it's just a little boring. We need to do something, a little something. Okay, now I'm going to use my Tim Holtz ruler And I'm just using this to make sure that I get the bunny in straight, because I don't know if I got the magnets in straight. So I don't want to just line off my magnets. I want to go off the top of the paper and make sure it's straight. And let's see. That looks like it. Yeah, okay. I'm going to put a quick pencil mark here. And I'm going to line my ephemera card right up there. Now, the other thing I need to figure out is the midpoint of my ephemera card. And I'm just going to put a dot on it. So I think it's 6 inches, so it should be 3 and 3. There we go. If you don't have a Tim Holtz ruler, these are really nice to find the center points. I mean, I know it's 6 inches, so I could mark it at 3, but if it's off just a fraction, it's nice to have this. Okay, so now I've got that little dot there, and now I need to find the center line here. And there it is. Okay, easy peasy. We're just going to line up those dots, and then I'm going to come back and erase anything that's exposed. Oops, one more thing. I've got to figure out how much glue to use. So I'm going to flip it over again. That's the center. I gotta measure it again. It looks like 1 7/8 from the center. So I'm gonna put my little marks 1 7/8 right there. Okay, I'm gonna lay it on just to make sure my dots are in the right spot. Yep, okay. So now I know basically I'm going to put glue in between those 2 lines. And I'm going to go on the inside of the line slightly, because when you press down, the glue is going to spread anyway. So, and this is the hard one. When you do the flip side, all you're going to do is match these up. So it's much easier once you get inside. There's my little dot. There's my little dot. Going to line those up. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz ruler, make sure I came in straight. Perfect. Let's look at the other side. Yep, we're good. So I'm going to burnish that into place. That is perfect. Okay, so there's our cover. Now we don't need this to help us locate anymore. Now we're going to open it up, and then this piece is going to go in just like this. And like I said, we're just going to line it right up with the existing panel. And you don't have to use a full piece. I mean, you could have cut this into pieces, but I had enough paper, so I went ahead and used it. And what I mean is this part doesn't necessarily have to be covered. Okay, make sure you're putting this in so that you can read the journaling card when the flap is up. Okay. Beauteous. Okay. So we're moving right along. Oh, that's so satisfying. Okay, well, one of the reasons I was telling you about working on my craft room is at some point I would like to get it into enough shape that I could, kind of do a little walkthrough for you guys. not everybody cares about that, but I know that when I was starting out and then as I transitioned to different crafts, I always poke around and look for other people's craft rooms because I get ideas on how to organize and store things. Now, it's a little different for me because Julie's my neighbor and all the inventory is over there. So really what I do is I only pull stuff out of inventory when I know I'm going to work on a project. So I might have 2 or 3 projects lined up and that's it. So I don't have a whole lot of paper laying around like a normal crafter would. Or like I did when I first started, before I started doing videos and promoting the shop. I had all kinds of paper all over the place. Because if I saw something I liked, I'd buy it, even if I didn't have a project in mind. And or if it was on sale, I'd get it for fear I wouldn't be able to find it later. And I don't do that anymore because I am 100% full-time on Scrap and Create promotions. That's all I have time for. So I went through and purged a whole bunch of papers because I figured if we ever get out of the business, not that I'm saying we are, if we ever get out of the business, it's going to be so long from now, I won't even care about those papers. So I went ahead and purged those and gave them to other crafters. Some of it got donated, but a lot of it I gave to my sister and other people that I knew would craft. The stuff that I just couldn't part with, that I just love the patterns, but it's not collections we sell, I'm actually going to go ahead and trim those down into card sizes, because that's the only other crafting I do, is I still make my own cards for events that come up. So I don't make Christmas cards, but I make all my birthday cards, Mother's Day cards, Father's Day, you know, that kind of stuff. So I still do all those cards. Christmas is just, it's too hard. I mean, it's a huge project to do all your Christmas cards if you're trying to get projects out in addition to it. So I do all my one-offs, so I'll save those and I'll just trim them down to card size, and then I can stow those in some smaller containers and get them out of my 12 by 12 storage. So that's that. So it might be helpful to some of you to see what I do. Others might be, oh, that's a little bit too organized, specific for, you know, a designer who's not sitting on tons of paper. Paper I found to be the hardest thing to organize. If you put it in like 12 by 12 containers, you actually get pretty efficient storage. But I also found that if I couldn't see it, I would forget about it and I wouldn't use it. So, you know, it's a catch-22 there. So anyway, that is kind of the A side. So I got to trim out the rest of the insides and get them inked. So when we come back, we'll finish this. I'm really pleased with the way this is turning out. I hope you guys like it. And I love just having this journaling space up here. And this is going to be a really large spread. So we'll be able to put a lot of photos on the inside of page 2. So that's it for now. I'll be back soon with the B-sides. Hey everyone, it's Daphne, and we are working on finishing up page 2. We're going to work on the B-side. And I've got some papers trimmed out. And I'm going to start from the center and go out. So I'm going to put a strip here in the center, and this is basically the same width as the designer paper right here, so that we'll have this nice continuous line that goes from the top down. Looks good. Yeah, just check and make sure I inked it. Okay. Okay, there we go. And I've trimmed out these, the green pieces to go on either side. I think I've got 2 of those. There's the other one, like so. Okay, that looks good, but I haven't inked it, so we'll ink it. hope everybody's doing well. I know a couple of you are waiting on this project to come so you can get started on your own. So I should be wrapping up pretty quick here. Switch it around, see if this fits a little better. So I think I'm going to need to trim down one of these just a smidge. I'm not liking this, so I'm going to retrim this real quick. Okay, let's see if that's enough. That's enough. So basically I took the width of this designer paper, came up with this, and then I'm just hand trimming these based on fit. So just laying it in, marking it with my pencil, and trimming it. And I think it makes it interesting when you have a spread as wide as 10 inches to do color blocking. I think it makes it a little bit more interesting than just a solid piece. But you can also get a lot of interest on your page through embellishments. And then of course you're going to lay in some photos. So it's not going to be a blank slate. Now this one, it looks like I over trimmed it and I have enough paper to start over. So I'm going to do that. And I'll save that paper for something else. Okay, let's see how that is, how that fits. Okay, that's better. Okay. Okay, that's it. All right, so now we've got these, and that's going to be our whole spread. I'm not sure if you guys can see the whole thing. So I'm going to shift it back and forth. So next thing is we're going to lay in this piece. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and close this so I can shift it over. And then we've got this panel. Oops, that looks like it's a little too narrow. Yeah, that's not going to fit. I think it's too narrow. I'll have to come back to that. We'll go ahead and put this piece in. And I forgot to ink it. This is without a doubt my favorite print in the collection. I just think it's gorgeous. Okay, so that's that. Now I have these trimmed out for here, but it looks like I made them a little bit too narrow. So I'm going to look at something else. Let's see if this is going to fit. Yeah, these peach ones might fit here. I definitely don't like that. I'm disappointed that I over trimmed these, but I'll have to use them for something else. So that's an option. I'm trying to decide if I just want to do a solid pink panel, or if I want to try to add another little bit of green on the other side, like so. So if I add the green, that means I could go back to that. That's too busy. That's not going to work. I'm going to go ahead and put these up. And I just so happen to have these two strips cut out already, and they're 2 inches wide. And so that's what I think I'm going to do, is I'm going to add these 2-inch green strips on the outside, and then I'm going to fill the inside with that peach. There we go. Okay, now we can trim out this piece to fit. Okay. that is done. Now we'll come over to the other side and we'll do the same thing. One more time. Okay, that's a little too narrow. Okay, almost done. Okay, keep bumping into my glue. Okay, so we've got two matching sides. This is a ton of space for photos. So this is a really pretty layout. I think it'll be nice. You can add. This is a 3x4 card, so you could easily do 3x4s. You could probably do a 4x6, and then you've got room over here for more photos. And then in the center, this is 8x10, so there's a ton of space right here just in the middle for photos. So this is beautiful. Okay, so now I'm gonna fold that down so I stop bumping into it. Now we just need to dress these two outside panels. And I need to find something that coordinates. So I'm going to take a break real quick and come right back. Okay, I picked out this beautiful green pattern, and it is from the Patterns and Solids. And I can't remember if I told you, but this is the 12x12 Patterns and Solids. I think this is a pattern in solid too, but I have to find a scrap to be sure. I'm gonna look at the back side real quick and see. Yes, Patterns and Solids, the green and the pink, 12x12. And this is Patterns and Solids. This is what we're gonna do on the outside panels here. And I know I trimmed out two pieces. What did I do with it? Well, good night. It's here somewhere. Let's get this one down before I lose it too. Okay, we'll get some ink here. One of the things I was thinking about while I was creating and designing with this collection is when I heard the name Woodland Friends, it made me think of winter. And I guess part of that is because of the season right now. But this actually looks like spring. This almost could be an Easter collection. So yeah, the colors I think are very soft, so you could do a lot with it. Okay, now I gotta find my other piece that I just trimmed out and set down somewhere. What the heck did I do with it? Well, it's not in there. Here it is. I trimmed it and then shuffled it away into the scrap pile. It's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to actually lay it this way so I can see the edges more clearly. And I need to take just a tiny bit more off. Or it's going to hang over. Okay, that should do it. Here. All right. Okay. And that is going to wrap things up for page 2. Okay, now I'm going to run through it one more time so you guys can see the finished product. So we've got this beautiful top-down flap that's holding everything in place. And then we have the door, and then it opens one more time. And hopefully you guys, that's my kneaded eraser, can see the whole spread. Okay, hopefully you like that. That's the end of page 2.